Don't believe your lying eyes and don't believe the pattern recognition that we've seen over the past decade. So says Witcher VA Doug Cockle as he responded to The Witcher 4 being described as woke, saying, "That's just stupid. It's not woke." I wrote this up over at phantompulse.com. You can find the link in the description below. So in a video for the Fall Damage YouTube channel, Cockle reacted to various Witcher memes. One of them wasn't really a meme, but more a comment from ex-user Stealthy Bosmer that stated the entire Game Awards chat spamming woke because The Witcher 4 has you playing as Ciri, a woman, is everything that is wrong with gaming culture. Cockle reacted to this saying, "I wouldn't say that's everything that's wrong with gaming culture, but I do think that's stupid. It's not woke. There's nothing woke about it. It's a cool character from The Witcher, and they're going to focus on that character. I think that's awesome. We can't just have Geralt for every single game for The Witcher ad nauseum out for eternity." That is a really interesting comment there. Typically, that is indeed what you see when you have a franchise. Imagine thinking that Nintendo isn't going to be making Mario games anymore. Got to replace him with Princess Peach moving forward. There would be an absolute uproar. No one would accept that, or most people wouldn't accept that. Imagine trying to replace Batman. Oh, wait, they've tried to do it. It doesn't work. We can look no further than Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League and how abysmal that did for Warner Brothers Games just last year. This is an absolutely ridiculous comment, devoid of evidence. Anyways, he goes on and says, "Besides, we've seen the end of Geralt's journey. Blood and Wine was supposed to wrap up Geralt's journey. I celebrate Ciri. I celebrate her being the protagonist. So all you people who think it's woke," he then derogatorily sticks his tongue out and blows. You can see it right here. This is what he's doing. I mean, just absolutely childish behavior. If you read the books and you understand why CD Projekt Red went down this avenue, there is a whole rich world of stuff to explore with Ciri that they didn't do when they put her into Witcher 3 because the story was about Geralt, but she had hints at it. If you think it's woke, read the damn books. They're good, first of all. And secondly, you won't think it's so woke after all. Hilariously, most of the comments accusing the game of being woke were coming from people who have read the books. So The Witcher 4 has all the markings of a woke game, mainly because it takes a male lead property and turns it into a female-led one. This is exactly what the Marvel Cinematic Universe has been doing for years, and we've seen the viewership, the revenue, the box office grosses have absolutely plummeted across the entire franchise, whether it's on their Disney Plus shows, whether it is in their movies. One need to look no further than Captain America Brave New World and their Thunderbolts movie, or whatever they're calling it now, New Avengers, or whatever they retitled it. It's in massive decline, and they have engaged in identity politics in all of these movies, whether it happens to be race swapping Captain America or replacing him with Falcon and then trying to call him Captain America. We've seen numerous times where they've tried to replace characters with female characters. They're doing that in the upcoming Ironheart show. They're trying to replace Tony Stark with a black female in Ironheart, and that was her entire purpose in the comics. It did not work out. It's not going to work out in the television show either. So we've seen this. We've seen this. This is a pattern that has been repeating throughout culture, throughout pop culture, in various different franchises and brands. We even saw this in Lord of the Rings with the War of the Rohirrim, where they literally sidelined Helm Hammerhand for his unnamed daughter in the books that they made the main protagonist and gave her a name, etc. So this is a trend that is happening not only in video games, but movies and television as well. We also know that it rejects the lore of the books to make Ciri a witcher, a mutant witcher, not just a witcher as a profession, hunting monsters, etc., with her own ability set, as she is kind of referred to, at least at the very end of Sapkowski's books in The Lady of the Lake, but literally making her a witcher who drinks potions and is a mutant, has gone through the trial of the grasses. This was confirmed by CD Projekt Red's head of studios, Adam Batowski, who wrote on X back in December, "Dear, if you're wondering how Ciri may be on the path as a witcher, well, there's the story of The Witcher 4 to tell that tale. A huge thank you for the respect and love of the lore created by Andrei Sapkowski. Hugs. We know that there was like an IGN article that confirms that she went through the trial of the grasses as well. That was obviously told to him by the game director, Sebastian Kalemba, because that entire article was written as part of an interview with Kalemba. But let's look at the books. In the book, specifically Blood of Elves, novelist Andrei Sapkowski does show Ciri taking part in Witcher training, but she does not take part. She does not partake in the trial of the grasses and undergo the mutations to become a Witcher. Instead, she is taken to the Temple of Melitelli, where she received magical instruction from Neneki and Yennefer. This is what Sapkowski wrote in that book. The ash blonde girl who, here in Kaer Morhen, they want to turn into a Witcher, a real Witcher, a mutant, a killing machine like themselves. They want to mutate the child, subject her to the trial of grasses and changes, but they don't know how to do it. And then Triss goes on and says, Ciri must not be allowed to grow wild. She has to have contact with the world, with her peers. She has to be decently educated and prepared for a normal life. Let her wave her sword about for the time being. You won't turn her into a Witcher without mutation anyway, but having a Witcher's training won't harm her. So she does not actually undergo the mutation. She does not undergo the trial of grasses as a child. She is taken to the Temple of Melitelli, where she attempts to receive magical instruction from Neneki and Yennefer. Additionally, in the Sword of Destiny novel, Sapkowski makes it clear that anyone drinking a Witcher potion would die unless inured to it from childhood. He wrote the mixture which helped the Witcher gain full control of his body was chiefly made up of veratrum, stramonium, hawthorn, and spurge. The other ingredients had no name in any human language. For anyone who was not like Geralt, inured to it from childhood, it would have been a lethal poison. So you have to be a mutant Witcher in order to drink their potions. And we see her doing that in the trailer that they released. And they are clearly making her out to be a mutant who has passed the trial of grasses, when that is simply not the case in the books. But as I said, in the Lady of the Lake novel, it does end with Ciri referring to herself as a Witcheress, but nowhere in any of the novels does it indicate she underwent the trial of the grasses and became a mutant. He wrote this. It's kind of Ciri's thoughts, saying, the devil, she thought, why not? I bet any money that this world has jobs for a Witcheress. And then she's kind of basically entered into the world of King Arthur and Camelot at the very end of that novel. And so she was going along with, I forget who the character is that she goes along with to learn more about that world. We can look at the Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. Ciri is referred to as a Witcher in the Blood and Wine DLC. After Ciri explains she slew a Garkin, Geralt asks, being a Witcher, anything like you imagine? And Ciri replies, Geralt, I didn't have to imagine anything. Remember, before we parted, we walked a good stretch of the path together. I'm still a long way from mastering anything, but I am trying. Anyway, I did learn from the best. When asked about her battle with the Garkin, Ciri also notes she took a dose of black blood in order to combat the creature's increased strength in the battle. She defeats it by feigning a dodge and letting the monster drink her blood, which by consuming the black blood potion had turned to a lethal poison. The base game also features an ending where Geralt gives Ciri a silver sword, and she seemingly accompanies him as a Witcher. Geralt even calls her a Witcher. A narration at the end states, Cirilla, Fiona, Ellen Rhiannon, heir to Nilfgaard's throne, chose the life of a Witcher on the path. Geralt taught her all he knew, every skill he possessed. Then each set off on their own. Soon word of the ashen-haired Witcheress had spread throughout the north, from the Yaruga to the mountains of Kovir. So again, unclear if she actually took the trial of grasses there. Could be similar to what we saw in the books, where she is just kind of following the life of a Witcher, but not actually being a Witcher. But there are also multiple different endings for The Witcher 3. In one of the endings, it's implied that Ciri dies, but it is left ambiguous. There's a possibility that she just chose not to return. So there are multiple endings in The Witcher 3, and obviously by having her return as a Witcher, they're pretty much erasing those endings for those players that chose those endings. And they said that they'll find some explanation on how that all works. We'll see probably some kind of multiverse stuff, which Marvel is doing, and no one likes that because it's just a cheap storytelling gimmick at this point. It's unclear. Again, it is still kind of unclear whether or not they will follow any of this. We do know this from game director Sebastian Kalemba. This is what he told IGN. We want to let players try to define her. She's about to form her own codex on her own terms. So it seems like they might just be throwing away Ciri's story altogether, maybe giving her some kind of amnesia or something. If you're going to be letting players define her, sounds very similar to what we saw from Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, where they pivoted from the character Henry actually being a very defined character to them trying to claim that Henry was you, and it's all about what you choose to do in the game rather than who Henry was as a character and as a defined story. So it sounds like they're trying to make Ciri the player rather than Ciri the character, which kind of undermines the whole idea that they're following the lore of the books, etc., right? The way she actually deals with the monsters, the way she deals with quests, the adventures, it's her own unique way. We're giving more tools for players' disposal to be able to not only play and go with the consequences narratively, but also gameplay-wise. We want to give players more opportunities to be able to feel that they define their experience. In that same interview with IGN, executive producer Malgorzata Mitrega said, "We want to aim for the new players." How many times have we seen this from these companies that are trying to find that new modern audience? This is the kind of, we see this all the time. And she says the wider audience and also the people that know the franchise, but who maybe do not play our games. I mean, we saw this with Marvel. They had Victoria Alonso going on out there talking about how they needed to represent people, etc., in order to get them to watch their movies and TV shows. And when they started doing that, they literally started losing their audience. And it looks like they're trying to get in a bunch of females who might have watched the Witcher show, who have never played a Witcher game and are unlikely to play a Witcher game. So I definitely feel like that is an audience that they are trying to chase here. I think that is what she is implying here without specifically saying that. And then on top of all of this, we know that this is an absolute woke company that is making this game. CD Projekt Red has embraced numerous woke policies. The company has a diversity and inclusion page on its website that states, "Our purpose is to create revolutionary role-playing games with memorable stories that inspire gamers. We can only deliver on these goals and promises with an amazing, passionate team whose talents and professional skills reflect the breadth of experience in the world. A diverse and inclusive work environment boosts creativity and innovation," which is exactly what we need in order to push the limits of technology and storytelling. That's an absolute lie. There is tons of analysis that inclusive work environments do not actually boost creativity and innovation. My guess is that they do the opposite, right? Because you have so many people butting heads or in meetings all the time. You can't actually come to agreement on things, and it just creates a lot of friction. The company also notes it engages in equitable practices. It says, "We're not afraid to stand for what we believe in by implementing inclusive benefits and creating a space where everyone can be themselves. We create a positive example for other companies and help affect positive social change." So they are clearly out to try to make social change, not with their company. And how would you do that? You do that through the video games that you're making. We saw this from Ubisoft. It's all over their website too. And what does Ubisoft do? They get rid of their male protagonist that is set in the world, set in the area where it is, and they just get rid of it. They had a black protagonist or African protagonist, and then the female one. There was no male protagonist in Assassin's Creed Shadows. Similar thing happening here. Furthermore, it adds, "Healthy teams are ones where all team members feel good, valued, and safe. And these are the teams we want to empower inside Red by introducing various initiatives." One of those initiatives is called the Diversity Charter. CD Projekt Red explains, "We're among the companies that signed the Diversity Charter, a document committing to non-discrimination in the workplace, as well as to the introduction of policies that create and promote diversity. We were also listed as one of the top employers in Poland in terms of managing diversity and inclusion. Furthermore, the company also boasts that it is committed to promoting social change and being an example of it. All of our efforts aimed at meeting this goal can be found here. Finally, one of the initiatives also includes a scholarship program that excludes men from participating through a partnership with girls in the game." So, I mean, this game is woke, right? I mean, it is a female replacement character. Now, we've seen all the arguments already. Oh, they set it up in the video game or whatever. She's supposed to be the next one. No. I don't buy that at all. Her story ended in The Witcher 3 as well. We got endings for that. Like, even in the base game where they go off and have their separate paths, like, that's an ending for Geralt as well as Ciri. And then the other endings are she potentially dies or she just disappears. Like those are endings for her. Her story ended just like Geralt's did in The Witcher 3. And I mean, let's just be honest. This whole argument that Cockle makes about we can't just have Geralt for every single game for The Witcher. No, that's who The Witcher is. The Witcher is indeed Geralt. Now, are there other Witchers? Sure. But The Witcher is Geralt. I mean, that's just what it is. Superman is Clark Kent. Batman is Bruce Wayne. That is who it is. I mean, have we seen other people try to be Batman? Sure, we have. But at the end of the day, Batman is Bruce Wayne. Superman is Clark Kent. You can try to replace them as much as you want, but that's who it is. And for The Witcher, it is Geralt. And they're trying to replace him with Ciri. They're even making her into a Witcher, a mutant who has taken the Trial of Grasses, which I think further shows that this is indeed an attempt to replace him. They didn't stick with her own power set, etc. And I'm sure there are people that will argue, well, they just wanted to do that so they could cut corners, etc. Well, that's an excuse. They shouldn't be doing that. If they wanted to make a game about Ciri, they should have made a game about Ciri where she isn't an actual Witcher, a mutant. There were so many options that they could have done there. There is an entire book where she goes into the realm of King Arthur that they could have explored. They could have explored her adventuring there with King Arthur, with the abilities that she has, and they chose not to do that. Instead, they made her a mutant. Well, let me know what you guys make of this. Let me know in the comments below. What do you make of Cockle trying to deny that the game is woke? And he doesn't really offer any arguments against it either, to be honest. But let me know what you guys make of his comments here, especially when he sticks out his tongue. I think that just shows that he knows that the game is indeed woke, and he doesn't have any arguments, so he has to stick to this childlike behavior. This is something that my two-year-old does to annoy his big sister. And that's what Doug Cockle is acting like in this. But let me know what you guys make of this. Let me know in the comments below. Remember to always be charitable, especially to each other, and to always, always speak the truth.
Why would you be afraid of the people? Why are you not afraid of God instead of man?